Well, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, well, Is this my audition? Or maybe it's your audition.
It's my audition for Sushi Masters.
There we go.
Yes.
I'm like, how come nobody has called me about that? I guess you only have so many white sushi judges at a time.
Yeah, I mean, dude, next season, you want to come on and be a guest
Hit me
judge
up.
next
Dude,
season?
I would kill to do it.
That'd be so
I've
sick.
always wanted to be a judge on a
I
show.
can probably make that happen.
It would be fun.
I can probably make that happen because, like, I got added. So, like, it's funny. That show, I won't say who it is, but, like, somebody approached me 2020, and they're like, hey, we want to design a sushi show. Can you help us? And I did. And I like an idiot, didn't sign anything. Built out the whole thing. I was like, I don't think I'm a big enough host. I think we should have Morimoto host it.
Okay.
Fast forward, we build it out. Fast forward, I read in the paper that, they greenlit a Morimoto show. The same company, and I hit him up like, hey, that's awesome. Like, can I still be the co-judge? Ghost. Then
welcome to Hollywood, baby.
Then it comes out, right? Then the first season
That's a good
comes
lesson
out.
for you.
Yeah.
Are we recording? We should be telling of this story.
Are we rolling?
Not a damn chance. Not a damn chance.
So then the first season comes out, and I'm like, whatever. Like, it is what it is. And then I get a call. The show's been, I guess, sold to someone. I get a call from somebody, and they're like, hey, we're making this sushi show. It's a competition hosted by Morimoto, and we think you would be perfect to be the judge. And I go, I put all of my my ego aside, and I was like, that would be great. I would love that.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so the people who hired me to do it had no idea. Now, it turns out, because I did talk to the showrunner after I shot the whole season, I was like, hey, we were at dinner one night, and I go, I got to just tell you something. The reason I'm so fucking passionate about this show, I kind of developed it. And he was like, well, apparently the company that made it is not the company that I had done it with. So I don't know if it was a zeitgeist thing or
it was in the air. Did you know that if there was any turnover from that company to this company?
It's so hard to say. I mean, as you know, it could have literally been someone in the hallway being like, dude, we have this idea for a sushi show with Morimoto, and then someone else just went and made it, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, I got to be the exact part that I wanted to be.
Wow.
And now they know that, and I got to challenge produce it and be a part of it. So
that's
Super
like
dope.
the 0.0001% of good outcomes that
Yeah.
come from a situation like that.
Very,
Well, I haven't-
very
I-
rare.
in Hollywood. So congratulations.
Well, dude, thank you for. This is a huge week for you guys. We really appreciate you, coming and sitting down with us.
man.
Chef's Table for me has been, inspirational for, as I learned yesterday, a full decade. And
Same here. I love those.
As a
Thank you.
person who's been obsessed with sushi since I was 5 years old, Jiro Dreams of Sushi was fucking awesome. It was fucking awesome for so many reasons, and so inspirational for so many reasons. But really want to hear about the guy behind the thing. But for me, the most interesting thing to at least start with is sushi. I've been obsessed with sushi, but there aren't a lot of people who are obsessed with sushi. I'm assuming you had an obsession or at least a passion. Where did that come from? What's the story on there?
Yeah, I think that sushi is something that it fosters obsession. I think for the people that truly love it, they love it.
Can't really be a casual sushi fan.
I don't know a lot of people who are like, yeah, sushi's okay. I think that people really get into it. And I try to figure out, what is the real reason for that. I think that there is something about the chef doing it in front of you, the magic of the relationship between the sushi chef and the customer. And I think that's why the first real food thing that I made was about sushi, because of the mystique of this chef. And they have the special fish, and they have the special technique. They're making it for you, special for you. And that connection is powerful. Plus, it's just delicious, the perfect, we talk about umami in the movie a little bit, and that's a term that has become more ubiquitous now. But that feeling of satisfaction, of balance, is so good. Just the vinegar rice, the fish, the soy sauce, like it's there are many levels of how good it can be, but
Yeah.
at its basis level, it's kind of hard to fuck up in a
You're
way.
getting me hungry
And I'll be honest, like I've eaten the best sushi in the world, and I've had some like excellent sushi places. And then also like when I went to USC, like I didn't mind like grabbing a cucumber roll out of the cafeteria because you just knew it was going to have that. It's just going to have soy sauce and rice, and
for
soy
sure.
sauce and rice.
Soy
It's
sauce,
It's always
wasabi,
easy.
and rice is good.
People love it.
Yeah.
People love it. So that I think that's the thing. And so I was obsessed with sushi. One, because it was kind of rare and special. I think you're probably younger than me. I don't know.
How old are you?
I'm 41.
38, 39.
Okay, so we're of the
39.
same era.
Yeah.
Growing up and being a kid was like, I was like 2 the first time I went to Japan, then I was 4.
Jesus.
And I
Wow.
was eating like cucumber rolls and stuff when I was 4, and eel, because my parents weren't giving me like the raw
Damn.
fish because there was still a certain,
Uh-huh.
back was it
then
okay
it was,
for kids?
yeah.
We don't know.
Now it is. But
Now
back
we know
then,
that's
yeah.
fine. And my kids are slamming whatever.
My
daughter.
They're having uni and all that good stuff. But for me, I felt special because I was like, oh, like I know the secret thing. I've eaten eel. Like how I could go to like first grade and be like,
Yeah.
I ate eel, and they're like, ew. And I'm like, yeah. And it didn't win me many friends, but I felt a certain connection to it.
Where did you grow up?
In New York City, in Manhattan. And I just felt like, my connection to Japan was like powerful. And I loved it. I love the cartoons. I love the entertainment of it and the food. And it just always has had this special place in my heart. And so then when I went to USC, a lot of my friends, and these are actually friends who now work on Chef's Table, including Will Basanta, one of our brilliant cinematographers, Clay Jeter, who directed many episodes, did the Jose Andres episode and the Thomas Keller episode. These guys had never eaten sushi in their lives, and they were like, this is disgusting. Like, how could anybody eat raw fish? It was like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
One of them's from Tennessee, the other's from Illinois.
Well, that explains it right there.
And then I took them to sushi, and it was like this revelation. I was like, wow, that feels really good to like show somebody something special. And these things kind of all came together. These are the subtexts that I think that were in my mind when I was like, I want to make a movie about sushi and show what real sushi can be like, but use all the tools of cinema. I thought I was going to be like directing Harry Potter out of college, because most film students are delusional like that, and then reality hits you like a brick wall.
Well, you got to aim for the stars if you're going to even make it out of the,
Yeah, so if you aim that high, then you can reach like a good documentary career. So I found that way, I was making behind the scenes things, and I was just like, sushi is this topic that people love. They don't know anything about really.
Yeah.
People love sushi, but they want like their seared mayonnaise all over it or whatever's the cream
Those
cheese and all
baked
this. Yeah, but they
rolls
think
and
that this is like legit stuff.
It's so bizarre.
And they're dropping their like the sake bombs and the whole thing. And they're like,
Yeah.
this is how the Japanese drink. And some of them, Japanese people like to drink, but they're not necessarily like dropping the sake into
a little
the
bit
beer.
different. Yeah.
And but I was like, oh wow, there's room here for people to really experience this thing. And so when I went to Nozawa for the first time, and I went with my friend Max Winkler, who's from LA. We were in film school together. He, grew up in LA, and he went to USC with me. I said that I love sushi. He was like, well, I have to take you to the very special sushi place. Nozawa was famous for being the sushi Nazi, as in terms of like the soup Nazi
Yep.
Yeah.
from Seinfeld,
Okay.
where it's like no soup for you, no sushi
Yeah.
for you, and he's known for kicking people out. The legend
Yep.
is that he kicked out Charlize Theron for asking for a California roll, and, and Keanu Reeves for eating too slowly. Like, I don't know what it was.
I grew up in the Valley, so it's legendary.
You know the
It's
stories.
legendary. It was a character in the Simpsons episode, right?
I
I'm pretty sure.
know that there was a story about the blowfish.
I'm pretty
Was
sure
that-
there's a sushi Nazi.
Well, I know that
Simpsons.
that Matt Groening went to the restaurant, and there was a Simpson-style drawing of him in the restaurant. The first time I tried to go with Max, we got there, it closes at 10, we got there at 9. Nozawa's outside smoking a cigarette. And Max is like, oh, this is perfect. I can like introduce you. And we get there, and Max is like, oh, nice to see you. And he's like, yeah. He's like smoking a cigarette, just chilling. And it's like, do you think we can we get a table? Or do you have any seats available? And he's like, no, we're closing early. And that was it. And he didn't let us in. And that really hooked me. I was like, wow. And then the next time I went, every time I went, somebody got kicked out. First off, the sushi was insanely delicious.
Yeah.
The rice, you notice.
Yep.
And he went on to form Sugarfish. His son.
Not so much the Sugarfish rice, but his rice is what really inspired the warm.
His rice.
Warm and soft pack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he brought in that and the sweetness of the rice.
Yep.
Making the rice just like super delicious, and like that was different.
Yep.
And especially for me, I was like, wow, that is really special. And then of course, you know, he has like the most delicious like kind of cuts. He's just picking out the best stuff in the morning, and it was really, really good. A group of people, maybe there were 2 people sitting at the sushi bar, and then there was a group of like 6 people at kind of adjoining tables in the dining room area, and they knew each other. One person from the sushi bar switched with a person sitting at a table.
That probably pissed him off.
And he like looked up and he's like, "Who are you?" And I'm not going to do heavily accented Japanese, but I mean English, but like he was like, it was scary, and he's like, "Who are you?" And then they're like, "Oh, you switched." He's like, "No switching." And then he's like, everybody out. And his wife comes around. And they're like, "I'm so sorry, you have to go." But she's collecting the credit cards to charge everybody.
She's kicking everyone out?
She kicks out the whole group of 6 and the 2 people at the bar. And there are people online. So they like get kicked out of the restaurant. They immediately fill those seats again. And she still bills them for the whole omakase. So don't fuck around with Nozawa. And so that always stuck with me. The idea of this passionate, difficult, like stubborn sushi chef. Later, I made a short film about him as I was like kind of researching the style. Yeah.
Did that ever come out?
It's on Vimeo.
Okay,
I just released it.
I want to see that.
And I was testing the shooting style, I was testing the camera systems for what would eventually become Jiro Dreams of Sushi. And I interviewed him and I said, "Why are you kicking like, what is the deal? Like, you know, here it's like you give a little bit of flexibility. If, you know, people ask for something, you don't have to give it to them. But
You don't have to punish them
why
for
are
asking.
you punishing them?" And he goes, "I'm very tired. I wake up at 4:30, get to the fish market 5. I'm closing at 11, get home, go to sleep at 12.
Dude,
very tired.
Yeah.
The energy comes from the good customer. Bad customers, get out. Phone, they're on the phone, eat sushi, phone, don't look at the sushi.
Wow.
Get out. And I was like, that is
just not having
legit.
it.
Yeah, he just has no patience for that bullshit. And his sushi is so good that, you know, there's a line
people
is
still
there.
line up.
And I think that actually becomes kind of addictive because if you get his approval, then it's like, that's like the approval you'll never get from your parents. Like that's like,
He's so,
it feels
like,
very special.
solid.
Yeah, and in his final days, after I'd been there many times, you know, he snuck me an uni hand roll. And he
Sick.
just like, I'd never seen him do that. And I never knew that he made that. And he kind of gives me a wink and throws me the uni hand roll. Like, you know, don't tell anyone. And I was like, this is the greatest moment of my life.
This spot's no longer there.
No, Nozawa has retired, but his legacy lives on in Sugarfish.
Oh,
and
Sugarfish.
His kids,
So they are out
kids
here.
made Sugarfish. So you know where we had lunch today?
Yeah. Next door.
Literally next door was the original Nozawa.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Where'd you
okay.
go?
AviQ.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I remember I met him through Burt Backman. He's my
That's how I met him
my
too.
old
I think
homie.
that's how you met him too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
He's got a great. He's great.
Yeah. So we'd never been
that's
to.
super tasty.
Had you been to AviQ before or no?
I never did. I went to one of his pop-ups, but it was like we had like a short amount of time to wait in line, and we just didn't make the cut.
Yeah, I almost
We
hosted
had to
him
head
for
back.
one of his first pop-ups. I think we were talking Bert because Bert introduced us, and this was I think during COVID. This was during COVID, and it was like I was doing all these different pop-ups and things just to keep stuff going, and we almost did one together. And so I was stoked to. It's been 5 years now, so I was stoked to actually go. He's like, "Yo, you want to go there today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I think I know that dude."
Yeah.
So it was great.
Super
Yeah.
good. Super good.
But yeah,
Yeah.
next door is exactly where we were.
That was the OG location.
I thought it was a hand roll bar now.
So it was Nozawa, then it was Sugarfish, now it's Kazunori.
Yeah.
So Kazunori is the same guys as Sugarfish, who are the
Okay.
sons of Nozawa, and Kazunori is the hand roll only version of Sugarfish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is I've always found so interesting that like the absolute polar opposites of like get on your phone and get kicked out to like kind of like a have it your own way. Even though they have the trust me, like,
Well,
it's like for the masses versus not.
Well, I think what they realized is that they were leaving a lot of money on the table.
Yeah.
Um,
They were never going to have
by
100
the,
locations.
Yeah, because
of,
Nozawa, like, didn't care. But I think that by the time he was like retiring, you know, he was probably like psyched that there was going to be a big business that was going to continue for him because he's such a serious like shokunin, you know, like passionate professional, just caring about making the great sushi that he didn't care who he pissed off. He didn't care if he was leaving money on the table. And I think that the business, if he's not going to be bothered by it, I don't think that he minds if he doesn't have to look at the disrespectful gaijins. He'll take their money. And you know, I love because they are showing people, they're making omakase accessible in a lot of ways, and the price point is excellent. And there's a certain like efficiency of the way that they do it. Unfortunately, you kind of miss out on the sushi chef customer experience, but the turnover,
but they are
the volume of it allows the price to be affordable, and the takeout box is the best. Is a revolution.
It's the best sushi you can eat on your couch, bar none. But you know, when I first opened the first Sushi by Scratch restaurants, I think in 2016 or 17, there other than like Urasawa, there wasn't really any omakase or tasting menu only sushi places in LA, and so not a lot of people even knew what a tasting menu was. They'd come into the restaurant and they would like be like, "Can I have a miso soup?" And I'm like, "We don't have that." They're like, "I thought this was a sushi restaurant." I'm like, "Yeah, we don't have that." But it was really Sugarfish that I've credited for a long time with being the gateway drug. To actually like, because you go to Sugarfish, it's super, you know, the barrier for entry is very low. You can go as a casual sushi fan, and then they get you to try the Trust Me. And then you go, "Oh, this is a cool way of eating." And then they would find a restaurant like mine and be like, "I get it."
Right. Well, that's the trust. That's why it's called the Trust Me. He introduced California to omakase. And you know, later after Sugarfish came out, he actually invited me to lunch with him at the newly opened at the time Beverly Hills.
The Nozawa bar in the back?
Yes, the newly owned Beverly Hills Sugarfish that had a little Nozawa bar. And you know, he was very kind, and he told me that because of Jiro Dreams of Sushi, it made Sugarfish possible because then enough people knew what an omakase was, and we had a really, really nice meal. And
so in a very funny way,
it was very special.
Your movie got his place busy enough to instruct enough people to try my place.
Right.
So in a weird roundabout way, like I actually benefited from that's crazy.
So I'll need my money on Monday.
Not a problem.
Okay, cool.
That's right.
Yeah. But I love, one of my favorite things of the effect of Jiro is that their sushi got better, I think, you know, and I think that it helped kind of, the idea that people can like, you don't need to have that kind of crazy roll stuff. And I think a lot of that transition of sushi when it came to America, I think it's an interesting history. And there was actually a really cool article about it. And it was a really interesting story about how, you know, it's like this trading company kind of came to
Mutual?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how they kind of started. It was like this white guy who went to, you know, an American who went to Japan, and he was like meeting with the, you know, Japanese business people, because there were Japanese restaurants like the Mikado, but there was no sushi bars because the idea of Americans eating raw fish was just like crazy.
Well, it's because also like the idea of like sushi restaurants, I mean, as I'm sure you know, but like most people don't, like there wasn't even a sushi restaurant in Japan until after World War II, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's a newer cuisine. It was like a food stand thing.
Well, so like sushi's 2,000 years old, but nigiri turned 200 last year. And, you know, the actual like the first time sushi was served inside of a restaurant was after the bomb was dropped.
Wild.
And it was always like, because it was like it was more of a preserved, that you would use the vinegar to preserve.
So it
wasn't even about freshness at all.
No,
sushi. It was about preserving.
So it wasn't
fish,
until
right?
the very
sushi.
last couple years of the Edo period that sushi was ever even served raw.
Right.
It was sushi was always roasted, grilled. It was smoked. It was cured. It was preserved. It was fermented. I mean, the original sushi is literally a whole fish with the scale still on, the eye still in, buried in brown rice that's been overcooked for 2 years, left in the sun, and the lactic acid would ferment it, and then you would cut straight through the bones, and that was sushi. And you would discard the rice.
Wild.
And over thousands of years,
Wild.
and
My
you
mouth
know,
started watering.
and that's what's so crazy. Like you said earlier, like, you know, the average person has no, like, I would get told all the time, like, this is great sushi, like for non-traditional, and I'd be like, Just tell me, do you think like California roll and like the
Do you
spicy
do that,
mayo?
Do you do that to all your customers?
No.
You're like, okay, guys.
I usually just say
You
thank
sit down and be like, that would actually be a very funny scene in a movie.
Well, every once in a while, somebody asks me, and
Yeah.
I and because, like, I bought my first book on sushi when I was 13, and like
Yeah.
we can sit here over a bottle of wine, and I can talk about what was in vogue in sushi in the 1700s, the 1780s, the 1900s, and so like this doesn't need to be a sushi podcast. Want to get to sort of
Well,
like
it is today.
Well, I guess it is.
Well, at least the first half, first quarter.
Seems like
How
it.
long are we going?
Like 4 or 5 hours.
Dope.
You got that right?
Good. Anyway, so it was 1983 at Cedars-Sinai Hospital.
87
that I was
Cedar
born.
Sinai for me.
Oh, nice hospital.
Yeah.
Right? You're a New Yorker?
No, here.
Oh, I was at the other one. East Coast.
The other side.
Jiro was like a radical. When he was making
Yeah.
a sushi, his stuff was totally, innovative and unconventional. Now it's like considered very traditional and
Well, the
conservative.
only tradition. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I was just going to say that even in the outtakes, he says that he's like, why would anyone put ponzu on sushi? That's insane. Like, that's crazy. And I didn't want to have a heart to tell him what was going on in the United States with sushi.
Dude, ponzu's pretty cool.
I like ponzu too.
for
but it's like,
specific
if that's
things-
too radical for him,
Albacore needs ponzu.
well, he doesn't even think albacore is fit to be made as sushi, nor as salmon. I mean,
Yeah,
there are a lot of things
yeah.
that you're just like, you're not supposed to do. But that's the whole thing about sushi. Sushi has always been like a cutting edge
It's
cuisine. It's a new cuisine. It
classic
really is.
rock was blasphemy, and now it's classic, right? And the same thing with sushi is like everything that we garner as traditional was blasphemy at the time that it was introduced. The only thing constant in the history of sushi is that it was always constantly evolving. I mean, even
Right.
over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years ago, sushi was, in America, was rice, fish, you dip it in your soy sauce mixed with wasabi.
Sure.
That's not what sushi looks like on the plate anymore.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so it's constantly, in this sort of like growth pattern.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that, to me, what really inspired me, I think the thing I took away from the Jiro Dreams of Sushi the most was that what he was doing, even himself, he was regarding as being outside of the box. You know what I mean? And so you got this guy who's like considered this master who, is, because you look at an older gentleman from Japan, you just assume he's doing the traditional thing.
Right.
But the fact that he's doing it and he's doing his version was like, I can do my version.
Yeah. And then going on to Chef's Table, the Ivan Ramen episode was really interesting for
yeah.
me. Ivan Orkin, it's just an incredibly moving and emotional story. Ivan is from Long Island, and then he suffered a real tragedy when his wife died, and he became a single dad of his 2-year-old, and it was like very, very difficult. He knew he wanted to do something in cooking. He worked for Bobby Flay. He worked in some of the best restaurants in New York, and then suddenly was in this crisis moment. And the story basically is like he goes to Japan and kind of finds himself and falls in love with the culture. And his wife was Japanese. His late wife was Japanese, but he never really truly understood Japanese culture until he went there on his own and like lived it deeply, and somehow becomes one of the top ramen chefs in Japan and is accepted by the masters there, and it's very highly ranked, becomes famous, like all this stuff. And it's because ramen, is a new cuisine, and it's all about experimentation and transformation. And he brought in the tomato. He's like, ramen's all about umami and like that deep kind of like, rounded flavor. Tomato is the Italian like umami, and he brings that in, and it's amazing. And that's really what Chef's Table is all about. It's all about chefs who defy trends and that they kind of like discover their calling and then, realize that and then share it with the world.
It's like the punk rockers that become the new standard bearers almost.
Sure.
The people that
Sure. Yeah, well, now it's like Rolling Stones at the time. It's like, oh, how can... And now our parents are like, how can you listen to Skrillex?
Yeah.
And then when our kids, have kids or whatever,
it's people
they're
who
going to
play
be like,
by
oh,
their
no,
own
it's
rules.
it's classic EDM again. Like, not again.
So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, how was it, filming and getting into all of this?
I mean, it was an amazing experience.
Like the first one, like
Yeah. Well, shooting Jiro shooting Jiro Dreams of Sushi, which was really like the template for all of it. It was an incredible moment because the technology of filmmaking had just like kind of crossed this, is it Rubicon? I don't know if it's the right word. There was a threshold of usability for without having to have huge
Budgets.
crews and budgets and stuff. You know, I still, you know, I came from a place of privilege, was able to borrow money from my grandparents and my dad to buy this brand new camera that came out that allowed me to shoot kind of planet Earth level, nearly like, you know, like
Was that
movie
like a
theater
Red?
quality stuff. Yeah, the Red 1
Yeah.
camera. And nobody had ever shot a documentary on it, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can shoot a planet Earth style thing like with this and a Mac Pro. Now I can make this movie, this idea
Wild.
of shooting like something about like the art of sushi that I had experienced when I got to go to Japan as a kid, and I got to kind of see how these chefs, you know, are making the classic sushi, and shoot it in a way that was like, you know, I thought I was going to be doing scripted movies. I could make it look like a real movie.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. But then it was like very, I was very kind of lonely. You know, and if you've been in Japan for a long time, it kind of gets it's very entertaining at first, and then it gets a little kind of isolating.
Do you speak Japanese?
I speak like
that?
some Japanese, you know, but I relied on a translator, and there was a lot of doubt. You know, a lot of people were like, "What are you doing?" You know, nobody really understood what the movie was going to be. How can you make a movie about just like one chef and you don't have like a host and like he's going to be talking about himself and it's foreign language? And I believed that people would want to watch it because I wanted to watch it.
So did you self-produce it? Like,
Yeah,
did you
entirely.
And it was
I mean,
just,
I
just you, no
I
team.
self-funded the first half. I went out there with the camera. I was the cinematographer. I was the sound guy. I literally did everything.
Wow.
Yeah, we
I had a bunch of Velcro on the camera, and I was just attached the various modules that were necessary. And I figured out, you know, like I could shoot with these very high-speed lenses, meaning that they are. I took a lot of cinematography in film school, and I kind of like spent a lot of time on movie sets as a behind-the-scenes shooter. I spent a lot of time editing. I kind of learned all the different departments and was able to cobble together a system
That's
that
insane, dude.
could be done by one person, but with a lot of duress and challenge.
Yeah.
And somehow made it work. But then there are moments of extreme doubt where I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna? Like, I'm watching this footage and I'm like, I don't even understand. Like, I have to go get this translated. Like, I don't even know
Yeah.
if he's answering the question or not. Because I don't have time for my translator to like, I don't want to break the flow.
Yeah,
and-
you got to just keep going.
yeah, and just keep going. And it was like terrifying. But then there was a moment where I started just like putting the images together, and I finally got some stuff translated, and I was like, oh, this is working, and I really just believed in it. And the movie didn't even get picked up. Like 3 or 4 festivals in, nobody wanted the movie. They were like, oh, this is good, but nobody will ever watch a foreign language documentary, never. And it was actually Tom Quinn who started Neon. Neon is the it's the studio that just came out with Anora, and he did Parasite. You know, he's like
They take some risks.
That was a
he
good one.
takes risks,
Yeah.
and he goes big on those risks. And so he bought the movie and brought it to theaters, and then you know later it found a window on Netflix, and that led to Chef's Table. And then I was able to work with a larger crew and with some more resources, and with the confidence that you know it would work. I could make a Jiro style movie
Yeah.
with other chefs, but of course Netflix was the only people that were the only people that would take the pitch.
So, was it always intended that you were just going to produce it yourself, or were you trying to pitch it prior?
I was always going to produce it myself. I didn't know I was going to have to fund. I didn't know I was.
That's sort of what I meant.
Look,
yeah.
no, it's very risky. The whole thing was fraught with risk.
Yeah.
Because first off, self-funding a project without knowing if you have the finishing funds and there was no guarantee of anything. I just went in there only able to film the first half of the movie, hoping that maybe I could like cobble this together into a feature, which I realized like I couldn't. It was only after watching all of the material that I figure out what the actual story was, which is like a father-son story. It's about
Wow.
a dynasty, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the stakes being, can Yoshikazu being Jiro's son, can he fill the shoes of his father? And so I knew I had to go back. And at that point, I was able to cut like a reel together And then there were some people that finally, like some people like kind of started to understand what we were doing.
Yeah, that was when you said yesterday at the Q&A, I was so like impressed that you were like, yeah, I went out there by myself and shot the movie kind of by myself.
It was completely like on a whim and a belief.
And this was just straight up like just passion of like, I'm going to make this movie. There's nothing that's going to fucking stop me.
I just knew that I knew, and I was shooting little tests and I was like, I want to watch this. Like I want to do this.
Yeah.
And thankfully, you know, I think it's just Jiro's character. Like, when I really like dove into the character story, not so much just the information about sushi, and that became the thesis of Chef's Table, which is it's not about how they cook as much as it is why they cook.
Yeah.
And it's more about the stories behind the dishes than, you know, the instructional element of it, which is not really what we're doing.
That's, I mean,
yeah. So
it's
lucky.
It's lucky, but I don't know that it's lucky. I think that it's I mean, and that's the topic that we always cover on the show is like perseverance.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If you just sort of like, had you approach this as a like, I have this idea and like, you know, I'll get it done, you know, versus like, there's no way I'm not giving up on this. If I've got to self-fund it, if I've got to fly out there, if I've got to do it myself, if I've got to, I don't need to have enough money to make it, but it's not going to stop me. I'm going to go because I just have the faith that it will happen. Is just sort of like, that's what this whole podcast is about.
Yeah.
And one of the major reasons we wanted to sit down with you.
Yeah.
I'm curious though, how did you find Jiro and why did you choose him of all of the chefs in Japan?
I thought that I might make it about a few different chefs and like kind of show the contrasts of sushi and different kind of stories of sushi, which kind of would have been like a mini Chef's Table in a way with vignettes of different chefs. But it was Daniel Boulud that turned me on, you know, the 3-star Michelin chef in New York, incredible French chef who's like brought kind of like the Lyon style French food to the masses. He was a friend of my dad's. My dad runs the Metropolitan Opera. Boulud has a couple restaurants outside, and so I had the privilege of being able to sit with him. And he told me that I told him about the project, and he said that Jiro is the guy. He's the guy. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And if Daniel says that he's the guy, then he must be the guy.
The guy, yeah.
And so I got in touch. My dad's translator for when he goes to Japan connected me with Masahiro Yamamoto, who is the food critic that kind of is the narrator of the thing. Yeah. And he managed to get me in there and helped convince Jiro to do it. But what Jiro said was that he would only do it if it was only about him and there were no other sushi chefs in the movie. And that turned out to be like the best note. Yeah. Because then it had to become this kind of personal journey. And so just through the circumstance, I had to find the way, and it became like the right way. Wow. And that was terrifying and exciting.
And you almost went in without knowing what it was really going to be about until you filmed half of it and like watched it.
I mean, it's crazy, and I would never advise anybody to do that.
I love that.
But now that you actually, I could have if I had today's technology, even though the technology was accessible, it was still like very expensive. And also, it's like at that time, I got to go to film school and I got to train with like ASC cinematographers, like major people that taught me how to shoot. And so I was very lucky. But with an iPhone today, I think that anybody can, if you find a great story, the technology barrier is getting lower and lower and lower. And all you need is like, it doesn't even have to be an iPhone, like a smartphone, you can make a thing. Yeah. And if you find a great character. And so he was just the guy. And it was like this real, if you build it, they will come thing, which I think is such a Field of Dreams is such a crazy, insane movie. But the message of it, where it's like, you don't need to know. It's okay to have doubt. It's like, you just know that you're doing something that feels right. And then they showed up. And when I say lucky, I'm lucky that what I like and that my taste happens to be shared by other people also.
It is, but like you also created.
I really made it for myself, not for an audience.
Well, that's the thing. But you made it for yourself because it didn't exist.
Yeah.
It's not like you just made another slasher film or made another car chase. Like you made something that kind of was a void. I mean, obviously there's documentaries, but like you filled a void in your heart that you wanted to be there. And that's what I think great art is, you know? and where people, and it's all, I mean, yes, it's lucky that it resonated with people, but I think it resonated with people because it came from your heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think that's right. I think that the best work comes when you're making it for yourself.
And you're young enough to still be stupid and
Yeah, and
Take the risk.
take big risks. And you know, I didn't have a family. I could just like disappear to Japan. And so I had that kind of that momentum. I could bring that into Chef's Table because now I was making the kind of food show that I would want to watch. And I imagine that when you guys are making your restaurants, you're making the burger place you want to make.
Yeah.
You're making like the restaurants that you would want to eat at.
Definitely.
And that's why people like them, is because it's sincere and it's not like pandering. It's like it's just a genuine expression of what you're into.
Well, when we
And
started
you're sharing that.
when we started NADC, like literally we started it it didn't have a name. We just would make burgers together for fun. And for the first maybe year or two, year and a half, we didn't sell them. We would show up to a comedy show and give them away for free. We'd show up to a skate park and give them away for free. It was, I mean, he has several careers. I've got, you know, I have like a bunch of, I mean, we don't have time to make fucking burgers. And then after like a year and a half of this, a buddy of ours came up and was like, hey, I have a bar down on Rainy Street in Austin. It's got an empty kitchen in the back. If you want, like, just teach my guys how to make the burger and we'll sell it out of the back of the thing. And it was just like, but we spent like 2 years getting the exact how many pickles go on it, how hard does it get pressed, like what kind of
very
seasoning.
That's
specific.
the Jiro process, right? No, it is. It's like you're iterating, right?
I mean, every single element that goes on that burger, because our menu is one burger, one way. That's it.
Yep.
Great.
There isn't options. People ask for, can I get no pickles? Sure, we'll do that for you. But like, we don't have multiple burgers. We don't have a chicken sandwich. We don't have a salad.
You're doing one thing well, and that's very appealing to me. I love that. Wait, can I rewind for a second? So you're just going around giving out burgers?
Yeah, we would just put money together and
for like your buddies at like at the skating events or skate park. Why? What was the feeling? It's fun.
We loved it.
We love cooking, right? And we like sharing that experience with people. So we would just want to, when we had free time, it's like, hey, what are you doing this Saturday? Nothing. You want to make some burgers? You know, and we would just go make burgers. And
so just the act of making the burgers.
We loved just like, and it was just like we'd go,
sharing them and seeing the smiles on those skaters' faces.
Exactly.
That's it. I mean, we'd go to the local supermarket, HEB out there. We'd buy ground beef and we'd buy everything there. We'd usually go back to one of my restaurant kitchens and we'd prep there, and then we would go and give away burgers for free.
That's amazing.
Because it wasn't about, I mean, how we're going to sell 50 burgers and each one of us gets $40. Like, you know what I mean? It was more about, we wanted.
You're selling a burger for 75 cents?
No.
Is that the price point? That's dope.
No, the burgers now are $16, but now it's like
nice,
but like 100%. Wagyu beef harvested
this is
in
the
Texas.
Product of refinement and suffering.
This is like 4 years later. It's like, and now we have.
You gave a lot for free, and now you're going to get it back. But that's an amazing. Wait, how do you guys meet?
So he's a professional skateboarder.
Yeah,
as you know.
I'm
a professional chef. He was skating in Texas.
Well, I'm also So I was skating. I was going to Austin, Texas. And I made a little message on my Instagram story, and I was like, yo, where should I eat tonight?
Okay.
And
I'm a huge skateboarder who, and so I was like, yo, come check out my spot.
Right.
And so then I was like, oh, what is it? And he's like, oh, it's sushi. And I was like, oh, word, like, I'm down. And like, I didn't know what kind of sushi, and I'm the type of person that I'm not really going to do my research. I'm like, all right, yeah, what time? What's the address? I'll be over there. And I was just thinking I was going to get like spicy tuna, just something basic, and I got there. And it was like hidden, like speakeasy behind the wall, like eight or 10 person seater, like very elegant, high, just fancy, good, perfect, delicious rows.
And he sets you down and he's like, let me tell you something about sushi.
I shame all of my guests.
This is traditional cuisine.
You thought you were going to get tuna rolls.
You think this is just as innovative as it was 100 years ago. All right, dog?
So he ends up being the chef there, and me and him start talking, and we have like a lot in common because, we both grew up skating.
Yeah.
I'm a pro skater, but I'm also like a home cook.
But a home cook at another fucking level.
Yeah.
Like I built a hearth at my house. I
Really?
cook over fire and stuff. Yeah, I have like a pit that I make barbacoa in and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, so I do like a bunch of like dope things. Like,
And, like-
I'm very into like classical cooking and like OG kind of style, like grandma style cooking. So I like started to learn how to like do all that stuff, you know, and I started throwing down with him about it over dinner.
Because also, like, that's my style. Like, I didn't make a name for myself in sushi. That was a later thing for me. I was doing 25-course tasting menus in a 16-foot fireplace, and we would, you know, no gas, just a giant fireplace. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I cook," and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." Like, you know, people say that. And he's like, "Check this out. I have this in my backyard." I'm like, "Dude, that's like a replica of what I like. It was in my restaurant." And then it was like, wait, we're actually talking on the same wavelength here. And so literally, like, the next weekend, him and his wife, like, you know, stay over at our house and like we roast a whole pig.
Yeah.
And our relationship begins on come over and let's cook and hang and just get our families together. And for over a year, we just like, because they were living in Fort Worth, they just come down for the weekend, stay at the house. We just cook, we hang, we do whatever. And then, you know, fast forward, we're about to open store number 10 in Soho next week.
Wow.
And, you know, we've now got kids that are a month apart.
Yeah.
And,
It's wild.
you know, now it's like, it's just become this family thing.
How long ago was the first one?
Restaurant?
Well, how long ago was the first time you like showed up at the skate park with the grill?
Was
and
that like
all
5?
21.
Yeah.
Oh
probably
my God,
4 or
it's like
5 years.
recent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm sorry. You're building hard, like where is that coming from for you?
Yeah, so it's all just in Texas. I mean, I grew up cooking. I'm from Chicago.
Like
so-
with your family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like no one was like a chef or anything, but like my mom, we cooked most of our meals at home. So I was always around the kitchen, you know, never
Yeah.
had any professional training or anything like that.
Gotcha.
And then through friends and stuff growing up and watching cooking shows and Chef's Table and stuff, I like got a bug for it, you know, and instead of just cooking normal household foods, like I'm very into like cooking classic, like OG, like, you know, grandma style things and things that take a long time to make and making like the perfect pizza dough and stuff. You know, I'm just like into.
You're
At another level.
a man of passion.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
And so we just like immediately clicked, you know?
Yeah.
And
That's so cool.
yeah.
Thank you, man.
That's very special. I mean, like the barbacoa, like you immediately had to give a hearth at your, like that's so cool.
Yeah, man.
What was your favorite Chef's Table episode?
I mean, I've watched all the seasons. I'm just watching the new season right now. The dude that cooks over fire.
Francis.
It
Francis
was one of the
Ballman.
first
Yeah, I was
ones,
thinking
right?
it was like a Francis
That-
Ballman
That's one of my
situation.
favorite ones too.
Yeah, 'cause he's like the romance. You know,
Yeah.
he really one of the funny. I mean, so Clay Jeter, who I mentioned, who went to film school with, he directed that episode. We were shooting at the same time as the Massimo Bottura episode, which I was doing, and when I first saw the footage of it, I was like, he's grilling on a boat. He's grilling on a boat, and then like I'm watching this dailies, and then somebody runs over and brings him a glass of wine on the boat. I'm like, this is amazing.
So epic.
You know, my mom had done cookbooks with him, and so I knew, you know, this cookbook, Seven Fires, is like absolutely incredible cookbook, which
I've
I
never
highly
seen it.
recommend.
Yeah.
And it's about the 7 different kinds of fires that he uses. And the recipes are quite accessible. There are some that are more difficult, like the whole cow roast.
Oh, yeah.
Where the first instruction is gather strong lads from the village and a pulley system to hoist the cow above an altar to and flay it, and then
Not a lot of New Yorkers
and
trying
then build
that at
a
home.
fire underneath it. And, you know, my mom really went like step for step on that recipe. And then there are also things like, you know, just like a nice spatchcock chicken with chimichurri and like, you know, but it's I love, and I think it's actually something, there should be a show about like great home cooks. Like, I think that's really interesting because there is that passion. And also just like, it's so pure. You're not doing a business, you're making it for your family.
Yeah.
And the joy of cooking burgers together, and that becomes a business. I think that's so cool. So I commend you.
And that's sort of how we. I think we
you.
got down this sort of like you know, this little rabbit hole was like, I think that if you do something for money or for fame, it's very easy to fizzle out if you ever find that money or fame. But if you do something solely for the fact of, I need to do this to fulfill something in myself, and if you keep doing that long enough, that's where most of the success I found, at least in talking to people, is like, they're like, yeah, I would be doing this for free. I'm just so blessed that I figured out how to monetize this thing that I otherwise feel called to do in my day-to-day life.
Yes.
Like you would do it regardless if you weren't making money.
And that's exactly what you did. You flew to Japan. You're like, I'm going to make this thing.
Yes.
Since the time I was 2, I've been infatuated with this thing, and I need to tell this story.
Yes.
And
I think that's exactly right. And that's the story of most of that's like the archetype of the chef's table.
Yeah.
Chef is that, actually we talk about like the chefs when we're talking about how we do the stories for Chef's Table. I like to talk about them as superheroes because that archetype kind of fits. You have a person like they have talent.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily know how to use it. They might want to think that they want fame or money or whatever that is, or they don't even know if they're going to be a cook. And much like, Peter Parker, he gets bitten by the radioactive spider and discovers that he has these powers, but he doesn't actually become Spider-Man, the hero, until Uncle Ben dies.
Yeah.
Because he was too aloof and selfish to help out and stop that burglary or whatever the robbery was. And the guy goes and ends up killing his uncle. And so he realizes that he has this like responsibility, and he points his powers in the right direction. And it's a constant journey for him. Yeah. And it's selfless, and the newspapers all hate him, and he's just like keeps going. And I think that's kind of like this beautiful thing. And I think about Massimo, he has like this talent, and he doesn't really know how to use it. And then he's like trying to make these things, and when he's in Italy, he's making the 6 tortellini, walking across the plate and just like expressing himself.
Yeah.
And he's getting absolutely destroyed by the Italian media. We're saying that he's messing with grandma's recipes and it's blasphemy. And I don't know if you guys ever follow an Instagram called Italians Angry at Food.
No. Sounds like a good follow though.
It is very funny. It's basically
shout out Italians angry at food.
Yeah, it's just like taking kind of bad or mediocre Italian cooking and Italian commenters on Facebook just like talking about how like the Pope is going to die because of this.
Oh my God.
That's like that's the depth. They are so angry.
That's how bad they ruined that dish.
Yeah, they're like, take that pepperoni and da-da-da-da. And it's just like absolutely appalling responses to appalling cooking. They're very, very passionate. But he fought through it, and he kept going, and eventually he found his audience. And now he's like, he could be the prime minister of Italy.
Yeah.
Like, because he just is so passionate and he follows his convictions. And I think it's awesome. And so, they discover their power, they put it in the right direction. And then in the Legend season, which just came out, these are chefs who have reached the absolute apex.
Yeah.
And they're using their powers to do things that they think are really important. Like for Jamie Oliver and for Alice Waters, teaching kids how to eat.
Yeah.
Which
awesome.
is so important. Teaching kids that like vegetables, showing them that vegetables can be delicious, and it doesn't have to just be like a burger and fries. Like there's so much more to it. And not there's anything wrong with burgers.
But there is so much more.
You have to teach them how to eat in order for them to teach their kids. Like you have to break this cycle of this, like, the fast food nation or whatever, like,
you want to give them the foundation to start off.
And Michael Pollan made this great movie, Food Inc., where he talks about like, why is the American food system so profit-based and like messed up? And so he also is in the Alice Waters episode, and she is like following this ideal, even though everybody had always called her crazy.
Yeah.
And then Jose Andres, of course, is traveling the world like feeding people who are hungry, and like is using in his incredible storytelling abilities and capabilities to raise massive amounts of money for the sole purpose of trying to feed hungry people. Because hunger it really is a solvable problem. It's just a numbers issue, and it can be done, and so you need somebody who can kind of marshal those funds together and do it. So he's like, a true hero as well. So it's really cool.
I think that's really awesome that you spent the time to, give them like a larger voice and platform, or like, to like make these documentaries
Yeah.
about them and you
Yeah.
know throw it on Netflix, which is huge. You know, I think
Thank you.
It's such a great thing. You know.
Thanks, man. And you know, but especially in the case of these legends, they already are super famous.
Mm-hmm.
But what we
But
thought
Netflix,
we could give them,
Netflix famous is a completely different thing.
it is. Well, yeah, because the best thing about being on Netflix, you're in 165
Yeah.
countries plus on day one.
Yeah.
Like the thing comes out and it's literally everywhere. And so it's a great place for them to accelerate their message.
Yep.
And also, you know, our thing, as famous as they are, for me, I think it's the vulnerable story when they show their vulnerability and that they show their humanity
Yeah.
and that they're not these like untouchable heroes. Like Thomas Keller has failed. You know, they have all faced failure in their lives, but they keep going. You know, the lessons about how it's not you know, success is great, but it's how you react to failure that really defines like character.
Yeah.
And I think these are incredible lessons. And then when a viewer experiences that humanity, it connects them with the food, it connects them with the message, so much more than just the simple information. And we were so glad that we could help them in that way. And they get out of it what they give us. You know, they gave us much more time than any other single show has taken from them. They were not, you know, the singular star of like, we're up in their business for 2 weeks. They're not getting paid. They give us the access to the restaurant, and they give us a lot. And then they have to tell us their deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trust
And then you have
us.
to tell the entire world.
And they have no edit. No, they surrender all editorial control. They have
Oh, wow.
nothing. They have no. We completely control it. And
But you have a track record of doing the chefs right.
yes, well, that's because we cast people who are not
Yeah.
evil
Yeah.
typically.
Yeah.
Which is helpful. Yeah, it makes it easy.
I mean, that's so. I'm curious how you went from being out of college, having this passion about sushi, saying "fuck it, I'm going to Japan. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to get it done." You come back, it doesn't go well at the festivals. You finally find somebody to help you finish it or to buy it. You get it into Netflix, but then how does that? I mean, obviously, like you can see a lot of the art. You can see your artistic touch
Yeah.
on Chef's Table from Jiro. But what is that journey from like getting it on, getting it in theaters and getting it onto Netflix, and then having Netflix then give you this platform? Because it seems like to me, and probably most people, they're just like at this point they're like, yeah, you want to do another one? You know what I mean? Like it feels that way from the outside, but going from there's no way I'm not going to make this thing, it may never get made, but fuck it, I'm doing it, to like now you just have a platform. Like how does that trajectory happen, and what does that feel like?
Well, it feels amazing that we're still here, and that's awesome because, this is a very unlikely success because there was nothing else like it at the time. And for studio executive, this is the thing that I've kind of learned, going back to the old Hollywood stories and the industry. There is a fear, a lot of it is driven by fear. Okay, so people feel comfortable. That's why you see like sequels and you see like things that are
same
based
movie
on
made
board games.
over and
Like,
over
everything
again.
has to feel familiar because they're afraid that if it's new, people won't care. And if it hasn't been done before and hasn't been a success before, how do they know
That it will
that
work.
it's going to work?
Yeah.
And so there are very few, like there are some like real visionary executives who are a rare breed who have believed in something and staked their careers on it to make that thing happen. And one of them it comes to mind is Chris Albrecht and Carolyn Strauss at HBO. These are the people who got Sopranos made, and like people like nobody wanted Sopranos. Sopranos like we already have analyzed this. What do we need Sopranos for? Like what's the point? And he was like, no, this is great, and he made it happen. And like Carolyn Strauss was like, nobody thought that Game of Thrones would work, and she was like, this is going to be amazing. And now, of course, she's a producer on The Last of Us, and she continues to do her thing. Who's going to believe in something that is unconventional? And in the case of Netflix, they were the only ones who would hear the pitch because there had never been a food show that was not hosted by a celebrity chef before. But they believed that because Jiro performed, that there was a chance for this. And the executives who were in charge of it, I mean, it was Lisa Nishimura and Adam Del Deo, and Adam is now he's still there with us, and we're the longest running show on the entire platform.
Wow.
Congratulations.
We're the first doc
congratulations.
series, and we're still there. And it's because they've given us room to cook and let us do it the way that we want to.
Yeah.
And it's been an incredible partnership because of the risks that they were willing to take. And Netflix has proven that they take risks that other people won't. Like, they're the ones who will do the $250 million youth CGI Irishman movie for Scorsese just because like, Scorsese. Like, we're going to let him cook. Like, and that's an amazing thing. And so we're so lucky that we found that path and that they existed at the right time. So that's really it's really special that we're still here. It's amazing.
Even like before then, was there times where it was like super hard kind of getting yourself in the door?
Yeah. Again, nobody wanted to hear this pitch. They thought it was like even
The pitch for Jiro or the pitch for
all
Chef's
of it.
Table? Yeah.
It wasn't like Jiro was
It wasn't
like
just like
everybody knew about it. Like
Yeah.
that was like it was a niche. It was a cult classic. It became a cult classic kind of quickly. But in TV land, like that's a like what? Like wouldn't even watch the movie, never heard of it, didn't care. And then even when Netflix was interested, at the moment that I realized that, it took me like a year and a half to make Jiro, and it was just like exhausting. It was just like really, really hard. Because I didn't trust anybody. I had to do every single thing myself.
Yeah.
And then I was like, holy shit, how are we going to make 6 of these in the same time frame? And also it's exhausting. Like the chefs are strong personalities, and it's like wrangling them is like tough. And they're not used to being directed. Like these are all the masters of their
These
domain.
are all directors.
Yeah.
They're all directors. And that's like a lot. And so it only really was able to happen because of the team that kind of came together, people that liked Jiro Dreams of Sushi and believed in this. And then those original people were Andrew Freed, who runs his company Boardwalk Pictures, which now is like they've done Cheer and they've done the Welcome to Wrexham. Like they've done tons and tons of things now, but this is like their start. And then Brian McGinn, who was an editor at my trailer company, and he knew everything about cooking and everything about chefs, and he had great taste. And he kind of helped me realize that, with this team, we have a shot at doing this thing. And we did. And then, watching the assemblies of the first edits, I was like, we're fucked. Like, this is a disaster. And then again, the team rallies and they bring it up to the level, and we persevere. And now everybody that works on the show knows how to make Chef's Table.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of them, and that's the reason it's able to sustain.
It sounds like you're describing a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like,
So much. So much
but
is.
it also sounds like you're describing like a restaurant like empire. Because like so my first restaurant, it was like my wife and I, and it was like that was kind of it. And our team.
Yeah.
And it was like it was so singularly focused, and then by the second restaurant, it was like, all right, it's Valentine's Day. It's like, all right, you expo one, I'll expo the other. But then by number 3, we had to teach people how to do it.
Yes.
And then as you keep going, and by the time you get to number 4, number 5, number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, now everyone understands how to do it.
Right.
And now your
And then
job
it becomes easier.
is to get everyone to keep, sort of keep on keeping on, and then continue to sort of, raise the bar.
And keep those people.
Yeah.
And not churn out the people. I mean, and that's where, that's the other thing that I'm proudest of, is choosing the core people who motivated the people to stay. And now, like at that event yesterday with Jose Andres and Jamie and Alice and Thomas Keller, like I was so proud to be able to point at this crew and be like, these are people who've been with us. Many of them have been with us for the full 10 years.
Yeah. Wild.
That's amazing.
I thought it was dope that you gave credit to that you had them all stand up.
Yeah.
You didn't just give them credit. You're like, these are the people, go say hi to them, afterwards. And then also, we're both married with kids, and for you to call out your wife too was pretty, I like that. And it shows, to me at least, why you have been successful and continue to be successful, because you obviously have a vision, but you've also got a team that you trust, and obviously a home structure that supports And it was just awesome to see.
Thank you so much, man. And Christine, my wife, who is I didn't want to embarrass her by rattling off her accolade. I mean, she's an Oscar-nominated producer. You know, she has a company called 2 a.m. that
shout out 2 a.m.
It produced the movie Past Lives, which is incredible. It was a Best Picture nominee, not this Oscars, but the previous one. She just produced Baby Girl. That's incredibly
I saw that
entertaining, sexual thriller.
Yep.
That is super, super fun and
all of our wives'
amazing
favorite movie.
Performance. Yeah, exactly. And I recommend seeing it and then trying that with your wife and see what she does back to you, because it's not going to go well. It's a really, really fun movie. And so she's like a great filmmaker and she's a very passionate person. And it's true. Like, it would not have happened without her. I was ready to quit and she was like, let's just watch House of Cards season 2 and then see how you feel about it. Because it was like, this is a crazy opportunity. Like, they're letting David Fincher make this great, and Beau Willimon, the showrunner of that, like, just make this crazy show. And then, like, nobody else would have done this.
Yeah.
Look how good it is. And then she also got me out of my agency, which I'm not going to name names. Is that crazy? My own agency, my own agent thought that Chef's Table would go nowhere and could not happen. And they wouldn't even set pitches for it until I could get a celebrity presenter on it. And she got me a new agent and the whole thing. And she like led me.
You know what?
How crazy is that?
The night before I opened my first sushi restaurant, my publicist told me that's not sushi and quit. She wouldn't promote it.
No way.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's fucking and then again.
It's a great story.
Fast forward a decade and you've got you've inspired a generation. You know, fast forward a decade, sushi looks a little bit different. You know, and it's just so crazy.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's always so fun. I feel like I say this every week, but it's so fun to sit here around this table and have like 3 people from completely different, professions who have so much in common on their on their rise and on their story.
Yeah, because there was not a damn chance. Who does the titular line? Like, who does the title line? Is that the beginning?
Both of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's not a damn chance that we were gonna. They said that there was not a damn chance, and we said not a damn chance that we're not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And that's the fucking. I mean, he's so.
I love that.
Neen came up with the. Well, he came up with the.
I love saying not a damn chance.
Oh, it's the best.
Well, we
I
live
say
by
a
it
lot.
now. It was his like catchphrase for years. And then we were driving to the barracks.
No, not a damn chance you can land that.
Not a damn chance.
that was yeah. Go ahead.
A lot of it had to do with like food. Like, I was putting on weight, so I was like eating big plates of food.
Yeah.
And I would like show on my Instagram story like all my plates of food that I was about to eat.
No way you could eat that.
And then the next scene, they'll all be empty, and I'll like throw a napkin and just scream like, "Not a damn chance!" You know,
that's amazing.
I just did that every day for every single meal,
and that became his catchphrase. It was like, "Not a damn chance." And then we're driving to the barracks, which is a famous like private pro skate park in LA, to do burgers. And we were like driving there, and we're like, just in case like one of these skaters want to post about it, should we come up with a name? Should we make an Instagram?
Yeah, like we should make
and we were like, what should we call it? And I was like, what do you, I mean, it's your thing, but like, what do you think about calling it the burger Not a Damn Chance, the NADC burger?
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck it, I love it. And we went on, made an Instagram there. So we had the Instagram going before we were a business.
Amazing.
Yeah, we were still just doing those pop-ups, but just in case if someone wanted to tag us, we'd have it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There it is.
So, where I mean, what's next? What are you working on now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, totally. Yes. No, I mean, there's a lot. Yeah. And I'm keeping it close. Well, Chef's Table, my favorite tweet that I ever did. I'm not like, I don't have like a big Twitter or anything, and I'm not like a great tweeter or anything. I'm a pictures guy. We had a meeting where we got some disappointing returns on the numbers. Like, they don't really tell us the numbers at Netflix, but they tell us if we're trending up or down. And it was like, yeah, so, and they've always been such supporters of us, but they never want to see us fail. And so they never wanted to see us like put out something that people weren't going to watch. And so we, our numbers were like a little bit softer. And I just remember going on the internet, I was like, Chef's Table will never end. It'll never end.
Yeah.
Nope. And it can't end. Because we own the IP of Chef's Table, and we will make it forever and ever.
Yeah.
But we obviously will. If it's not on Netflix, then who will watch it? How will they watch it? Netflix has been the most incredible partner for us, and it's the only way the show would have gotten made.
It's the perfect place.
And so I really was just like, our mission is like Chef's Table should be an institution that lasts forever. And Netflix, our numbers bounce back because, trends and things change. And we also mixed up things a little bit, and we brought in, the pastry season, and, the characters continue to inspire, and things just, the pendulum swings. And now Chef's Table Legends is in the top 5 of the entire platform.
I saw that.
Let's
Congratulations.
Which is awesome for a sometimes subtitled documentary. That received the basis of which received no offers out of the Berlinale Film Festival. So we're incredibly proud of that. And so we want Chef's Table to last forever. We have lots of ideas for the future of that. And there are endless stories of great chefs, just like they're just the best because they risk everything.
Yeah.
And they are so generous. It's like what you guys did. That's why I love that. I wanted to dig into your story about going around and just serving burgers to people. That's like a real act of love. That's a beautiful thing. And that's the kind of generosity touches people's hearts. And that's the kind of kindness that we need. And so I love telling stories about people like that who are generous and they follow their hearts and do things that are just kind, just kindness. I mean, it's beautiful. And so chefs are that, and I love that. And then, of course, the stakes are high. You could lose everything on a bad night. You get to serve a bad scallop, and you're going to be that's going to be tough.
Yeah. Or the world could shut down.
The world could shut down. And, these things
can
happen.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that was a real moment of difficulty and where generosity and kindness really had to go. You're trying to take care of your people.
Well, it's kind of
everything.
I refer to COVID as the Great Reset.
Well, and that's why you were going out there serving those burgers, right? I mean, that was part of the moment.
No, I mean it was a bit
post-COVID.
It was I mean, we started serving the burgers probably mid 21, late 21,
something like that.
And
it was probably near the end.
Yeah, because I went to Austin because it was you can be open, you can't be open. You can be open, you can't be open. You can open out inside. Now you got to go to the patio. Now no more patio. Then now you can't be open. So I went to Austin to do a little pop up, and it blew up like fucking unbelievable, and ended up just never coming back to LA.
Yeah.
I still have all my restaurants here, but just living in Austin, and it was, I have found and we have found so much more success post COVID,
right?
Than pre COVID, because it kind of reset everybody. There was no more you've been there for 60 years, so everybody had to stop. And then it
democratized the situation.
Yeah, it did.
And it also made people kind of realize what a privilege it is to go eat great food at a restaurant and be with other people. It's that's pretty cool, I think. I remember the feeling of being able to go out, just being able to go out to dinner was this is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how cool. Yeah. Oh, sorry. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and it kind of fits into the themes that we were talking about the future, is expanding the Chef's Table experience beyond just the show into things that you can bring into your home, and our good friend Justin Connor is
I got my little bag of coffee. Don't know if we can say that yet. Tell me if
we
can edit it out. Yeah,
the Dayglow coffee.
Yeah.
So we were partnering with Dayglow and doing a Chef's Table blend of coffee. Dayglow being an incredible coffee maker, and they also have shops that you can have delicious coffee from them. You can subscribe to them, and they're amazing. Chef's Table is something we've been very cautious with it because we've been waiting to find the right partner, somebody that we could really trust and let them cook.
You picked the right guy.
We picked the right guy. And Justin has just been such a positive force here, and his ambition for it is amazing because he loves the experience of it, and he wants to share that. He wants to share that. He's such a generous guy.
Well, once you hear what Fat Kid Weekend
exactly.
is, and we don't need to blow up the spot, but
please,
once you hear what Fat Kid Weekend is, you're that's a genuine human that I trust and would like to be associated with.
Absolutely. And that was the thing that was it was what, you do what? Why? That's the thing that was why do you do that? It's I don't know, it's fun. He's so honest. It was
and his nonchalance about it.
Seems fun, yeah.
Have you been to a Fat Kid Weekend yet?
No, I haven't. I did. I've been to some dinners that he's thrown.
Yeah,
which
the
have been,
camp.
Yeah, I went to I think got like Shoku LA,
Yeah.
that cool thing. And but I've been, just insanely busy shooting the things that I can't really go. And with the kids, I can't really go on non-family enjoyable trips. Like they have to be either work or
take your family. I took my family. I took my family. Well, we
Is
happened
he still
to
doing it, or I thought he was working full time for us.
Well, maybe he's not. I'll tell you about last year.
I thought he was making Chef's Table branding. Okay.
I'm sure. Well, he's going out for inspiration. Maybe.
No, he's amazing, and I think that we're going to be doing event. So he's using the what he's done at those camps and at camp, and he's rolling that concept into what we're doing with Chef's Table.
Oh,
so
right.
like we did the Chef's Table diner at Art Basel in Miami.
I know. I was so pissed. He asked me if I would do it, and I couldn't. I can't remember where I had to be, but I had to be somewhere else already. And
that was really rough.
Didn't go good?
You. No, it was amazing. I feel it was rough for you because it was really great.
Where the fuck was that? I can't
We had
remember.
Funky, and we had Evan Funky, and we had Nancy Silverton. We got Kwame out.
Yeah.
Michael Freedy. So you didn't have to have been on Chef's Table. To be a Chef's Table chef. Now it's about anybody that has passion. You guys would absolutely crush. Like we would love to do.
Don't even ask us. We're just in. Just
we would
book
love
us.
to do something with you.
Just let us know the date. We'll be there.
Great, and we're
Show
going
us
to do it the
where.
kind where you just serve the burgers for free, and that's going to be amazing.
That's what we do.
Perfect.
And I love that you're just like, yes. So we want to expand Chef's Table in that way. We want to make it like the passion of the show, the things that the chefs love in the show. We want to like kind of curate and help people get that stuff, and that involves collaborations with brands that we love. We also have like our own kind of merch line, which is super cool. And that's something
Where
that
can
we
people
really want to
find
help.
the merch?
We're doing books. It's on chefstable.com.
Chefstable.com.
Chefstable.com. And then we're going to be doing a book, like kind of a cookbook for Chef's Table, where it's like recipes from the chefs of increasing difficulty. So it's something you can, so it's cool because you're going to kind of cook your way through it. The most kind of more basic, like still like soulful.
Are you doing it like
food.
volume 1 is
well,
like
we're doing it like the
beginner
food symphony. So it's like it's a food symphony is the concept. And
Okay.
I'm just throwing this out there. Literally haven't told anybody about this. Sorry, Justin. So the idea
You heard it here first, people.
and we have to write it. But the idea of it is like the sushi concerto was something that was described in Jiro Dreams of Sushi by Yamamoto. The sushi tasting course moves and flows like. I love doing that. It moves and flows like a
concept
symphony,
album.
an orchestra, a concept album,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so at the end of we have a scene where we do that whole thing.
Yeah.
And so towards the end of every Chef's Table episode, kind of the climax is what we call the food symphony, where we shoot the food in the most lovingly beautiful way with
I
like the
love
best
that.
lenses, everything.
Love that
And
part.
it's like a kind
Yeah,
of a
that's always the best
callback.
part.
The chapters of the story are kind of connected to dishes that they've
Yeah.
done, and then it all kind of circles back, and you get to see it and celebrate it. And we have beautiful music.
Yep.
Is that at all what inspired that specific like symphony orchestral music?
Yeah,
or?
so I love, and so we have original score for every single episode, by the way.
Sick.
And so, which is one of the that's the amazing thing about Netflix, is that they let us, again, like letting us have, and we have amazing composers. Duncan Toom has been like kind of our lead composer who's done 30 episodes of Chef's Table.
Wow.
Which must be like 20 to 25 hours of music. We use a lot
Wow.
of music.
Wow.
And he is just like a genius, really. And we have other amazing composers that we work with. He composes it for the thing. And so the Food Symphony music is part of our DNA. It's part of my DNA. My dad runs the Metropolitan Opera. My mom
Yeah, so you grew up with
is a
that.
cookbook,
Yeah.
right? Like I grew up, and my grandfather was the managing editor of the New York Times. So it's like there's the journalistic, the music.
You're the exact like
It's all these
yeah,
things kind
that's
of coming
crazy.
together, which I never even realized until I was interviewed about it. Now we can put this in this book. So the flow of it is like we're doing it like a symphony. The opening movements, the middle to the end, the dishes are become increasingly complex. And so we're making like very, beautiful Francis Mallmann steak with chimichurri, like something that is like delicious.
And then the final boss is get your lads from the strapping young lads to come carry the cow.
The final boss is like 5 ages of Parmigiano Reggiano.
Yeah.
It's like the helium balloon from Grant Atkins.
From Alinea, yeah.
From Alinea. It's like these. So for the people who really want to challenge themselves, you can go there. But I really wanted to make something. I really want to make something, and we're in the process of doing it, that is for everyone. Because I think that's a big part of Chef's Table is like, at least at the beginning, when it was really fine dining and, because that was inspired by Jiro. Like, here's a restaurant that is completely inaccessible to everybody.
Yeah.
But they're human beings running it, and here's why it is the way that it is, and here's how you can relate to them and connect to them. I wanted people to feel that way about the 3-star Michelin restaurants. How can you relate to Grant? How can you relate to Massimo Bottura? You know, these people are like at the highest levels, but they're humans.
just people.
And there's a reason, there's a story behind what they're trying to express in their restaurants. And so I want people to feel that energy, that generosity, that accessibility in the book. And that's kind of where we're going. And of course, you get all the beautiful chef's tableness of the photography and all that kind of stuff.
I like that idea, being like a home cook and being passionate about cooking. Like, I'll be all over.
I want to see you get to the molecular gastronomy chapter.
That's what he's gonna have to call me.
Then you gotta
what does this mean? What is this
he's
machine?
getting all the
It's like
calls.
phone a friend.
Yep.
Can you bring your rotating dehydrator and your
Phil, do you have a rotary vap? No, but I do have a what is it called? I do have a freeze dryer. You know?
Yeah. People go into their local chemist and
no rotary vap.
That's going to be so fun. So I hope that's going to be like a fun kind of movement for everybody. And then we're going to press a vinyl of just the greatest music of Chef's Table. So,
Oh, hell
yeah, I just feel like people want to listen to music while they're cooking.
That'd be
And we've gotten
epic.
so many requests over the years for the music.
That's like skating to your favorite, to your favorite song from your favorite part.
Yeah.
It's like you're cooking to like.
Dude.
I mean, whenever I'm
dope.
cooking like different cuisine from different cultures, I kind of like to put my radio on the right
there you
music
go.
to like set the mood. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like it comes out better if I have the right.
because you want to like live the feel the flavor of it. And music is like, I feel like music and cooking and like these like frequencies. I'm gonna go like Joe Rogan deep on you now, and I'm kidding.
Let's go.
But it's like I really believe that there are certain like frequencies and tones, tastes. Like, what is it that makes something feel right for a human? Like, why do we agree on these shapes? Like, if you know, like the Fibonacci spiral, the proportions, why do we believe in the rule of thirds? Why do certain harmonies sound beautiful and right? And why do certain ones sound dissonant and like gnarly? We can all agree that like Mozart sounds good. Like that works. Bach, like that cello prelude just feels right. You feel something. When you eat a delicious piece of sushi, if you're not, afraid of the raw fishness of it, like it tastes like the balance of it feels right. Like French fries taste good. Fruit Loops are delicious. Like, it's these
Correct
basic
is
things.
correct.
It just feels right. Like,
Yeah.
why do we agree on these things? It's really interesting, and just hitting that tone. It's like kind of unifying and makes us realize that we are just like we're all the same species. All of our rituals may be different, our styles are different. We're kind of like doing the same thing. The intention is the same, and that's like sharing an experience with family, which is awesome. Family and friends.
But things that very specifically check those boxes, no matter how obscure or abstract those boxes are the things that stand the test of time.
Yeah.
There are things that stand the test of borders.
Yeah.
The Beatles were big everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Chef's Table works everywhere.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just work everywhere. You can take chefs from everywhere and it works everywhere. So I think, clearly you're onto something.
Well, you're right. I mean, you figure that out. That's why you have every different kind of restaurant.
My thing was
you got your pasta, you got your sushi,
Yeah.
you got all your different things because you're finding that through line of comfort and deliciousness.
It's just like there's a thing that I love to like. Sushi was my passion.
Yeah.
I love to make it. I wanted to be a sushi chef since I was 13. It was like, this is what I'm going to do. Obviously, lots of other things happened. It wasn't even my first concept of a restaurant, but like I made like when I first opened the first location. There was no name, there was no phone number, there was no website, there was no reservations. It was a hidden room behind one of my other restaurants that I was a big pool player. So like you'd have to like go put your quarter up to say you're next. So I actually had a blackboard that after 3:00 you could come in, there was 24 slots and you could put your name on there and that's what seat you got for the 3 seatings. But like, by the way, terrible business model. Don't do that. It's hard to say.
I don't know if I think that's a terrible business model because you're playing up that scarcity and the mystery.
Well, it took,
and it's actually very Japanese to have like that place. Like, if you've been to Tokyo, even if you have it on Google Maps, you cannot find where you're going if it's like one of the spots. Like, you cannot find it. It's wrong. And actually, you kind of have that energy a little bit in Encino, where it's like, oh, it's like a door that's unlabeled. Like, I think that's
Have you been to the
awesome.
restaurant?
Yeah, I went to it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
No way.
I went to it. The one in Encino.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it a lot.
Recently, long time ago.
I think it was like a few months ago.
Oh wow.
Dope.
And,
Fuck, I would have flown in just to.
No, I can't deal with that pressure.
Yeah.
I didn't want to freak everybody out and have everybody disappointed at how basic I am. But like I really enjoyed it because
Did you go upstairs or downstairs?
It was downstairs.
Okay.
And it was just like such a pleasure, and it's just like, yeah, melt some bone marrow on that. Like,
Yeah.
let's go,
So
like,
good.
so delicious
So
and satisfying. And it hits those principles of the umami, the textures coming
Mm-hmm.
together, the good time, the sake and all that fun stuff. Nobody was sitting me down and being like, let me tell you something about sushi, motherfucker. They were pretty nice about it.
and I'm pretty.
They make you feel welcome. They give you the
Yeah.
name cards. They
Yeah.
make you feel like you belong there. Even if you don't know what you're eating,
Yeah.
you still belong.
It's
at the
communal.
table.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm very adamant about like, we're not a Japanese restaurant. We're a sushi restaurant, and we're specifically a tasting menu restaurant that uses sushi as the vehicle to do a tasting.
Yeah,
menu.
and it's not like pretentious, and you're not saying like, here's the most authentic. Da 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 da.
No, it's like
And
this
we
is
talked
what
about authenticity in sushi before.
Yeah, and it's just here's what we want to cook.
Yeah.
And I'm very I'm very adamant about don't try to be the ambassador of sushi nor the ambassador of Japan. Your job is to facilitate happiness for the guests.
Yeah.
Literally, like the guests are coming here, they're your bosses, they're the ones paying your bills. If they stop coming, you don't get a paycheck, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like your job is to show them a great time. So I sort of like in our company, I sort of coined this phrase that we call workshop style service. And the idea is like, a lot of restaurants you'll go to and it's like, okay, what can I get for you? And workshop style service is take a seat up to my workbench and I'm excited to share with you the things that I've been working on, And so, I literally train the team by saying like, imagine it is, because all of the chefs aren't used to being servers also, so it's like, here's what you do. Imagine it's Thanksgiving. It's the first time you're going to host at your house. Your boyfriend or your girlfriend's going to be there, a couple friends from high school, and your grandmother. The way that you would host that party, right? You got to be cool enough for your boys. You got to be sexy enough for your girl, and you got to be polite enough and have your manners enough to not embarrass your grandmother. And if you can find that, that's how you work.
You should record that.
Find that balance.
We are recording.
That's great. That's a good leadership. I mean, I think how many restaurants do you have again?
26.
Oh, it's like the old 26. Okay. So that's
it'll be
cool.
26 next week.
26.
Yeah.
26 next week. Okay, that's pretty good. So how many chefs is that?
I mean,
And each of these chefs is an ambassador for you,
yeah, I mean,
and you have to train them and lead them and make them feel inspired to not take any shortcuts and to do it.
and
That's pretty.
I mean,
pretty good.
We've got, right now we have like over 300 people, well over 300. 10 of them are NADC.
Yeah.
But then you've got, sushi and pasta bar make up
Yep.
the rest.
Yep.
And there's a lot of,
Yeah,
there are a lot of mouths to feed.
that's dope. Who's performing at ScratchCon this year?
At ScratchCon?
Yeah, you doing Vegas or like where are you gonna? You're not doing like a big company retreat with like Snoop Dogg or like.
No, not yet.
Not yet. You're not there yet. You gotta hit
but
1,000.
we do. We do a lot of fun events though. So like last year, World 50 was in Vegas,
Right.
And they invited us out to come.
that's cool.
And so we actually got NAC was there, and
Yep.
they built us a replica of the restaurant for the
Right.
full
Wow.
2 weeks, and like. Like all the chefs, it was it's the most surreal thing for me ever, because I don't currently have a restaurant that is capable of being in the world's 50 best. I have one I'm working on, but I don't currently have one. But my dream is to have one. But after the ceremony, the after party was outdoors at the Wynn by the pool.
Yeah.
And if you looked up, the fucking most surreal thing in my life is an 80-foot picture of me on the side of Resorts World. And so I'm standing there talking to, the number 1 chef, number 3 chef, number 5 chef. And I'm so embarrassed because my picture is like 100 feet tall right behind us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That you can only get bigger than that on the Sphere.
Yeah. I mean,
Sphere is
Oh, the
next,
Sphere would
baby.
be
That's
heavy.
where ScratchCon's going to be. Yeah, it's the only place you're going to be able to fit everybody. ScratchCon, and then the Eagles are going to play.
That'd be dope.
I think that's amazing. I think that must be such a cool feeling.
because we just,
And you're able to keep them up, and keep the people up, and your churn is probably like low because
it's also like all my restaurants have 10 seats.
Yeah.
And so very small teams. And
then you get the dedicated customers. Like people have a good time and they come back, right?
We've
It's a
never
return
been media
service thing.
darlings.
Yeah,
We've been
yeah,
quite
yeah.
the opposite.
Yeah.
But we have such diehard cult-like following. And, but like, because my wife and we don't have any partners or investors in our company.
Yeah.
Neen is our only partner in NADC and none in Scratch Restaurants Group.
Yeah.
But like, even our dishwasher gets a 5% matched 401k.
Yeah, there you go.
6 weeks paid paternity.
Yeah.
If you quit working for us, you're taking a $40,000 to $50,000 pay cut,
Mm.
almost, unless you want to go be like the executive chef at Nabisco or some corporate something. But if you want to go, if you want to go make nice cuisine, you're taking a huge pay cut.
Yeah,
and it's
or
because
you got to work for those elves, the Keebler elves. Otherwise, that's the only way you're going to get scratch money or elves. That's it.
Yeah, but my wife and I, because I was a cook and because she was a pastry cook and we never made money, it was like we've stopped. And actually, Thomas Keller said it yesterday, and I was like, that's so crazy because I say that. He said, let's stop calling it industry and start calling it profession.
Yeah.
And it's been a big thing for us for a while where it's like we are no longer like if you're here for a job, you can't work here. This is career oriented. We're going to pay you like professionals.
Yeah.
And we're going to expect you to act like professionals because this is a profession. Because for me, and one of the reasons we have so many restaurants is like you can't make a difference with kind of one. You got to kind of go everywhere.
Yeah.
And so the idea is like, why is it that there's no other? There are very few industries that the people are as passionate and work as hard and sacrifice as much and make as little as cooks do.
Totally.
And so we were like, that's bullshit. We want to start changing that.
Yeah, and everybody has to eat.
Yes.
You think that it's an in-demand food.
It's like
cooking is kind of in demand.
It is.
Everybody eats.
But it's this thing where it's like there's famous chefs on TV and they make all the money. And then there's people who actually work in the restaurants and they make none of the money. And we were like, but why don't we take them out of the kitchen, put them in front of the guest and make the cooks, the rock stars.
Yeah. Nice. Well played.
Yeah. So, but that's why it's why I can have 14 of them.
Yes.
Because they're all little 10-seat, sort of like their own little,
and you
sovereign
better
nations.
pay them well if you're getting an 80-foot billboard. They're going to be like, well, no, they're going to be like, oh boy,
Resorts World put
you
it
started,
up.
Yeah, it's like you live. What is it? You're a hero. You live long enough to become the villain. Or what is the Dark Knight?
If you live long enough, if you don't die early enough,
you
become
either
the villain,
you either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain, and so you got to fight that impulse.
Well, I definitely cannot afford to.
Don't become the
billboard
Joker.
of
Don't
myself.
become the stay Harvey Dent and don't become Two-Face.
Yeah.
And I think that we have that. You have a fantastic, you have a nice vibe. I like you. I like
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, and I love what you're doing. I love your restaurants. I love the whole concept. And I love the idea of this podcast. Super.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
It's inspiring stuff.
There's one thing we always sort of wrap up with, sort of like our last and final question, and that is like if I could pull out a magic lantern right here and you could get one wish from a genie, specifically with regards to what does your self-made and self-prophesized life look like 10 years from now? What does that look like for you? If you could completely design what your life looks like.
You guys gonna go first? Who's gonna go first?
You're the only one going.
Okay. All right, chill. Great. I think that well, first off, I mean, I'm so fortunate that I'm like loath to even like ask for anything more because I have this thing that's been going and that has been made a difference, and that's really beautiful. And I have two great kids and I have a great wife, and like family is amazing, and I am so grateful on so many levels. And so for me, I think just the ability to keep going and kind of like finding new ways to express myself through the craft and finding new messages that I want to convey. I have a project that I'm incredibly excited about that I cannot talk about, unfortunately, but it's kind of like the next era of my craft.
Hell yeah.
So there's Jiro Dreams of Sushi, and then there's Chef's Table, and then I'm going one up on everything,
Rad.
which I'm cannot talk about.
When you're ready to talk about it,
but
if
I'm
you
really
want to promote it, come back
I
and
will.
we'll talk
I will
about
be
it.
back because this is a situation where I'm really able to cook Like,
Hell yeah.
on Jiro, I could do literally anything I wanted because everybody thought I was going to fail anyway.
Yeah.
In this case, there is some expectation that something good will happen, so I have funding, but I'm contractually protected
To do whatever the fuck
to do whatever I want.
Hell yeah.
Let's
And it's
go.
a really rare situation, and so I'm so grateful for that. So if I can keep that going, and the world cannot end, that would be really super. So I would love to be in 10 years doing what I'm doing. Everybody's healthy, and we're choosing this human side of curiosity and exploration versus like subjugation and isolation and loneliness. So if we could cure loneliness and make it so that people want to like do nice things for each other, like that would be really super.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. So that's my positive like big message, I think.
I love what you do, man.
Thank you.
Keep it coming.
Yeah, thank
man.
you so much.
Thank
And
you.
thank you. Thank you for what you've done with Jiro. Thank you for what you've done with Chef's Table. Not just as an inspiration for me, but for educating and inspiring the dining community. Anyone out there who hasn't seen Chef's Table, go watch it. This season is awesome. If you haven't seen Jiro Dreams of Sushi, go and watch that. But dude, thank you so much for being here.
Dude,
Really
thank you.
appreciate
Thank you,
it.
brother.
Thanks for doing it. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Hit subscribe now if you want to follow along. We have some awesome guests lined up that we sit down with. Make sure you follow the Not a Damn Chance podcast on socials at NADC Podcast. We'll see you next week.